I had someone ask me today if they should take 120K remote, fully remote, or 240K to go into the office. And I was like, huh? And without even checking their profile, I absolutely knew they were a Gen Z. I knew their age started with a 2. Because for you to even ask the question of whether you should take 120,000 extra dollars a year just to go to the office, just to march your little booty to the office, sit there, fuck around for a few hours, make some friends, eat the free donuts and leave. What do you guys think goes on at the office? It's not that scary. It was for a time, but right now it's not that scary. It's not that scary, especially for 120,000 extra dollars a year. It's not that scary. It's nice. It gives you structure. Make you guys less weird if you made some friends and had somewhere to be. I'm just saying.
In my opinion, I feel like if you are going to take the remote 120K, might as well go to a place like Thailand, another country where you could actually travel and utilize that remote capability, that freedom that you have to be able to, go to new places, new weather, warmer weather and things like that. But if you're going to be working remotely in the same city where you could just, drive downtown or take the train downtown and make 240K double, I think I would take the office job. That's just my opinion though. Let's keep going.
The question, 120 remote, 240 in office. She made it sound like it was obvious. Obviously, we'd want a 240 in office. And if you don't, you're Gen Z, you've never been to an office. Well, I'm not Gen Z. And I can tell you, without a doubt, I'd rather the 120 remote. And here's why. There's nothing more valuable in this life than freedom. And the freedom to be in your house, to control your time, to control what you want, and to avoid the office politics and all that mental strain. I can make friends from outside organizations. I don't need to make friends at work. And you shouldn't be looking to make friends in the office anyways. Don't combine work with pleasure. Same thing with dating. Don't mix work and dating. That's my take. I'm a 95 baby. I would say the 120.
Most of the people.
I totally agree with her. Yeah, you can make friends, connections, networking through your job, which is amazing for future positions. But yeah, they're not going to be your real true friends. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. That's just my opinion. I made a few good friends from the jobs that I've had in the past, the in-person jobs. Right now, currently, I'm working remotely, and I have been for the past few years. So I personally love working remotely. Let's keep going, guys.
Who want the 240, who are jumping on the folks who want the 120 are using the wrong terminology. You see, they're stuck on the work from home terminology, but they really should be using the remote terminology because It's not working from home, it's remote. The real question is, do you want a job that pays you $240 to be in office 5 days a week, or do you want a remote job that pays $120? I know that seems pretty straightforward, but I can tell that people are missing the point because they're talking about, oh, you want to wake up and put on your PJs and turn your camera off so bad. And it's like, no. You're not always going to be working from home. You're going to work from wherever you want. You're going to be remote. So if you understand that concept, then you understand that sometimes I might be working from home here, taking meetings from my bed, and other times I might be visiting another country, taking meetings from the poolside there. Or for other people who don't live in the same city or state as their family, they could be visiting with family and friends while still working their job effectively, efficiently, just like as they were in office. So there's clearly no right or wrong or no, good or bad. It's just really what you prefer. But we need to be clear on what these things actually mean. What it means to be remote is it means that you have location freedom. You can work from literally wherever you want. And what it means to be in the office, it just means that you're making more money. There's no other freedom to that except making more money, because even if you're making more money, you don't become more free. You're still bound to that office 5 days a week unless you're taking vacation. So although one job does have double the money, it has none of the freedom. Like, there's zero perks to taking the more money except the more money, which is still going to be controlled by the people that you're working for. I think that part really goes over a lot of people's heads, because you have to understand, if you're still begging and pleading or matching with other coworkers' calendars about when you can take off and when you can go here or how long you can be in a certain place, and the more money, they just bought a more expensive slave at that point. You're not any different than anyone else who's making less money. Someone in your building's making 70 grand and you're making 240. Essentially, you are exactly the same. You don't have more freedom than that person. Again, like I said, there's no right, there's no wrong, but we need to get on the same wavelength in terms of what these things mean and how they play out in reality.
All right,
I really agree with what he has to say. I like his take on it. That's exactly how I feel as well too. There's a certain threshold that when you go past that, your quality of life doesn't really increase by much. If that extra 240K, of course, it's amazing, right? Amazing salary. If you use that to invest and you have a FIRE goal, right, where you want to attain financial freedom much quicker, then that would be a great way to do it. But if you want to, be free while you're still young, travel the world, go to other countries, make new friends. I've done it and I know how amazing it feels. And I plan on doing that again for the future. So I do agree with that. There's benefits to both sides. If you do want financial freedom, take that 240K. If you want to have location freedom and be able to be anywhere at any time, then take that 120K and be remote. That's what I would say.
If you had to pick between $120,000 for a remote job versus $240,000 for an in-office job, what are you picking?
240.
Now I'm going to give you my opinion. If I had to make the decision right now, I would definitely pick a remote job. But this is only because I found a way to make money outside of my corporate job. So I would want to be able to use that extra time where I would spend commuting, working on that extra job. But if I was in my early 20s and just starting my career, I would 100% choose the 240. And this is because you can set yourself up from the beginning. Pay off your student loans, set up an emergency fund, pay off any other debt that you might have, start investing, and just live nicely. With that amount of money, you can live very well in the city. And I read the comments and I saw the discourse, and I understand if you live far away from the city, or if you're older, or if you have a family and you need to be a stay-at-home mom and X, Y, and Z. But there's no reason you should be picking 120 in your 20s.
Y'all keep talking about.
Again, she seems a bit older, and I think that everyone has their own perspective. I feel like, again, it comes down to what do you want out of life? Do you want to take that 120K and go from the US and go to Mexico, go to Colombia, go to Thailand, Vietnam, and, cut down your cost of living and enjoy life while still working and earning an amazing salary? That's one way to go. Or the other way is, like she said, you take that 240K, you save and you invest, right? You take all that debt that you have and just kind of break it down until it's nothing. And then maybe in the future, you can do the 120K. But again, there's just so many ways to look at it. I feel like I'm on the remote side of things, but I don't know what you guys think.
Influencers and content creators are out of touch. I'll tell you who's out of touch. I just saw a video where somebody was like, would you rather take $120,000 a year to work remote, or would you take $240,000 to work 5 days a week in office? Literally double, an extra $120,000 a year. I'm thinking, I'm about my money, I'm about my business. That's a no-brainer. Evidently, it is not a no-brainer. They're in that comment section talking about, no, absolutely not. I would take that remote job for 120, half the pay every single time. Are you dead ass? In an economy where we just had to crowdfund because millions of Americans got their SNAP benefits cut by the government and could not afford groceries for them or their families, you're gonna turn down an extra $120,000 a year because you don't wanna put your shoes on, and you think the influencers are the ones who are out of touch? You wanna be camera off, pajama pants on that badly? Fuck what you could do for yourself, fuck what you could do for your community. Obviously, if you're a mom or a dad or a parent or some type of guardian, some type of caretaker, if you have some extenuating circumstance that makes it more beneficial for you to be at home, do what you gotta do. But if you're a young person with free mobility in your 20s, building your life and building your career, and you turn on an extra $100,000 a year, mind you, they're in the comment section talking about, oh, well, when you work in office, you have to buy food every day. Baby, if you make that much more money every year, you can spend $30 on lunch every single day and not even touch it. You could spend $200 5 days a week for 52 weeks out of the year and not even touch that money. Dog, you could literally find a magical way to spend $1,000 every week, 52 weeks a year, and still not even touch half of the extra $120,000 that you would make. If you magically found a way to trip and fall and buy two PlayStation 5s a week, you would not even touch half that money. You could buy 4 PlayStation 5s a week and still not spend all that money. You don't want to buy clothes that badly? I'm trying to think, out of touch. I'm trying to think if I went to my immigrant father who came to this nation on a boat you know what I mean, as a refugee. And I said, hey, Dad, they tried to offer me an extra salary that would cover the total cost of our home that you purchased in 1999. But I turned it down because I don't like driving to work. Me watching that man get up at 6 a.m. every day of his life. What? Who's really out of touch? Who's really out of touch? I couldn't believe it. And honestly, it might be at the point.
He's got a point. If you are going to sit at home, okay, in the same city that you're in, instead of driving or taking the bus to go downtown within the same city for that 240K, absolutely take that 240K. But if you're going to be somewhere else remote, leaving the country, then yes, that 120K sounds real good, in my opinion.
Where anything past 6 figures, people stop comprehending what those numbers mean. Going from $70,000 to $100-something thousand, yeah, that'll make your life better. That'll make your life better. But going from $100,000 to like $200,000+ a year, the excess in that could absolutely change your life and change your family's life. And maybe people just like can't grasp those numbers. I don't know, but you're crazy.
Okay, this is my take on the whole. Would you rather work in an office for $240,000 a year or work from home for $120,000 a year? This is my defense for most of Gen Z saying they would rather do the 120, because I personally would rather do the 120. And that is because I don't think working for someone else long term is the most viable option this day and age. I think the key to life, or the key to being successful, is eventually starting your own business. If you really want to like have financial freedom and be comfortable enough to do whatever you want when you want it, and like raise a family in the United States, I think you need to start your own business. It's not the only way, but I think that's the way that I would go about it, because I think it's the most lucrative. And yeah, I just think you'll always get paid less working for someone else. Being in the office, yes, you get $100,000 more, but all your time is spent in the office. Then you add your commutes. We all know if you work in the office, you don't do 8 hours of work every day. A lot of your day is like conversation or like having lunch, that sort of thing. It's more of a social event than just straight work. So if you're home all day, there's so many things you can do in that extra time when you work from home that you couldn't do in the office. You have that much more time to start something, start building something, whether that's a new business or doing social media, or you can pick up a second job. You can work on some freelance work. You can take classes. There's so many things you can do in that extra time when you work from home that you couldn't do in the office. I value the time way more. And that's why I would take the 120,000, because I think like taking the less money is a great investment on your future, if that makes sense. And I'm sure there's many people who take the 120 and just like mess around all day. There are people who will take that time and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do something productive with this time, and they have the time. Let me know what you guys think.
Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Leave your comments in the comment box. Subscribe if you like this content. I'll be breaking down topics that cover personal finance, money in general, the economy. If that interests you, please subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.